What up, friends? We are back on the drive here at oddschecker.com/US. I am Geoff Fienberg. I'll be driving this ship solo today as we look at the Valspar Championship at Innisbrook. Of course, we are very familiar with. It's been around since 2000, I believe they've been playing this event. A shot makers list of past champions, but it's a par 71 that extends over 7,300 yards. I sometimes get caught up in the perception that it is a shorter hitter's course or it's a shorter course. But when you factor in the par 71, sometimes my perception doesn't come into so much reality there. But it is a tough course. You can find trouble. The famous snake pit, you'll hear about it all week. Short, narrow, penal, all that fun stuff that usually keeps the top players away. Now, we've seen the elevated events do really unfortunate things for non-elevated events. Say, look at the Honda this year, but I'd argue this one for a non-elevated event off of two elevated events should actually be kind of, it's the nicest field we've gotten under these sort of circumstances, I guess we should say. We'll go right to the top of the board, led by Justin Thomas, 11-1. His friend Jordan Spieth right behind him at 12. Sam Burns looking for the three-peat at 16, and the final name under 20-1 would be Matt Fitzpatrick. He comes in at 18-1. It's nice to see Justin here this week. Maybe that's a bit of a surprise. Maybe he's glamping with his boy Spieth. Both of them, I mean, Thomas's putters really abandoned him at the moment. Spieth, I could see a lot of reasons why people are attracted to him, and for a lot of reasons, a lot of golf bettors might just be abandoning their old strategies and saying, screw it, I just got to pick from the top. That's where the winners are coming from. Even last week, you got all this chatter that the players of all the big events, it has this wild card element, which is true. Your Lahiri shows up, your Lingmerths, a lot of it, but look who's won the last 4 years now. It's been Rory, Justin, Cam Smith, and now Scotty Scheffler. Just like all the other super events, majors, I should say. It's gone right in line with how Winner's Circle seemingly has gone recently. But for me, under 20-1, I'll take the high number on Matthew Fitzpatrick here, that 18, but it's a tough penal track. That's where Matthew Fitzpatrick thrives. I was probably one of those people who, I don't want to say mocked Matthew Fitzpatrick's 28-1 number to win the US Open a year ago, but there's been no course in the world outside of the country club there that's been kind to Matthew Fitzpatrick on the weekend. This course fits Matthew Fitzpatrick, 18-20-1, tight, penal, tough, good course form, a lot of things that kind of line up to being enough for me. If I want to play at the top, it would be Matthew Fitzpatrick. Going farther down the board into the 20s, Keegan let a lot of people down last week at the Players, but he's playing well, and this seems like an ideal course fit. Tommy Fleetwood, in this field, he is dominating when it comes to the approach metrics. Second in this field right now in strokes gained approach, using what I'm currently looking at. Fourth gained in strokes gained total. It means very little from me saying this could be a great spot for Fleetwood despite his lack of TV time on Sunday at the Players. Why? Because he shot the bed pretty hard. Well, I don't want to say in contention. He could have played his ass off. No one's would have caught Scotty anyway. Could take some solace in that. But no one needs to hear me touting up Tommy Fleetwood. That's annoying and obnoxious for a guy who doesn't win. But I like Tommy Fleetwood. In the same way you wouldn't care if I said I like the Chargers this week. They both disappoint. All the same. Justin Rose, his form seems to be outstanding for a course like this. Very, very familiar to a lot of these European Tour players. Valspar at Innisbrook, I should say, is more, reminds me more of a course you'll see on the European Tour than you would on the PGA Tour. Justin Rose, not like he's played many European Tour events in recent years. He's a world number one former, PGA star. Fits nicely for him. Adam Hadwin, he could fall in line with guys whose course history has been really kind to. All of these guys fall in between 25 and 30-1. if you want them. Hadwin 28-1 on that odds checker grid, comes in as low as 22. But we mentioned Paul Casey's won this thing back to back. Sam Burns going to a three-peat, or going for a three-peat, I should say, this year. Adam Hadwin won here before those guys. It's been kind of past winners. He has been very sneaky, consistently good this year, I would say. Like, forgetting the fact we're going to a course fit for Hadwin, things really are lining up. If he's right in the heat of it on Sunday, wouldn't shock me one bit. But in that range, geez, some tough picks for me. I'd probably lean Justin Rose if I was making that pick, taking my Tommy Fleetwood fanboy hat off there for a moment. But the 30s is a range that's kind of evaporated this week as we go farther down it. Denny McCarthy, he's consistent. I'm just not betting him. But if he is going to win, this does feel like a location and an event for him. Can be a bit of a plotter's course. He is so deadly with that putter. It is Justin Suh who I'm looking at, like a lot of people, 40-1 over at BetMGM, as low as 35 on the odds checker grade. It's the popularity of Suh that can worry me this week. I could be living with the boomer bust of Davis Riley, friends. That also over at BetMGM at 40-1, coming in as low as 28-1 on the odds checker grid. Gonna have to plug my nose when it comes to the putter of Davis Riley, but he's on a tear, right? Like, just like all four of these guys, Riley, Suh, Wyndham, Clark, 40-1, Gary Woodland, 45, can get as high as 50 on a Bet365 enhanced, is a bet I have made. The other three I am staring at. They're just the type of strikers I want this week for a place that can be as penal as Innisbrook, but at the same time, you're going to live that fine line and probably regret it. In terms of card construction, maybe I need to quit having so much fun building like a 5-6 man card. Maybe I need to just change it up and get with it and just do something like, if you want it to be Jordan Spieth, it could be Jordan Spieth. But for me, it'd be Matthew Fitzpatrick. Like Fitzpatrick at 18, one of those guys in the high 20s that I like, Gary Woodland, and literally get on my way. But no, I have to make it painful. It's like I'm going to start at 50 here with Woodland, but I can be in front of it with Riley, Suh, or Clark. Going farther down the board, again, like quite a few people, Brendan Wu, I think we're going to see some 60s that still remain out there. There were some 66s this morning. He's a guy that I'm looking at. It's coming in as low as 40 over at FanDuel. Brandon Wu's a guy that seems like he could be perfect for a place like this. And I don't know if it's a sleeper, but I maybe I'd call it my favorite long shot this week. Victor Perez, the Frenchman, European Tour. He just won recently overseas. He comes in at 66-1. I can make the case he is an incredibly undervalued skill set versus this field at 66-1 on a course that is tight and penal. What do they play the majority of weeks on the European Tour? Tight and penal courses. So in my opinion, this thing could set up perfectly for Victor to be quite sneaky. 66-1 is the number I'm looking at. That seems to be a bit of a consensus, as low as 55. That's one that I could certainly see myself betting on this week. As we get closer to 100, I like, Garrick Higo, 80-1, maybe a wish it could be higher. Ashke Bhatia, who a lot of people are quite high on. He's on the PGA Tour with his great Korn Ferry performance. That's 100-1 over at BetMGM. I'm seeing it come in as low as 75-1. I don't know that I will be there, but I'm telling you, it's going to be quite popular. So if you want it, get in on it. Fun story there. He's won on the Korn Ferry Tour. He just had a second place, so he's gotten the bump up for the PGA Tour status. And I would actually argue this course could work for him quite well. And I'm loving the Ben Taylor storyline this week, friends. He missed Ben Taylor. I'm going to assume he skipped the Players, but he was not at the Players last week. He got married. He got married. He's got 2 top 5s already this year. He's putting quite well on Bermuda, although I'm seeing some different reports on these greens, which I have always thought them to be Bermuda as in Florida, but it could be a bit of a hybrid. But Ben Taylor, 150 to 1, seeing it on the grid. It's as low as 65 over at FanDuel. I don't know if that's a misprice or someone went in there and hammered him, but he's been, there's a bit of a boomer bust element, but if you're playing an outright or a top 5, if he's horrible and misses the cut, it's the same as, finishing 6th place. That being said, sometimes you get that baby swag, maybe get some wedding swag here. He's got a, free, in that good vibe, great headspace. Play well, pay for the wedding. Let's go Ben Taylor, 150 to 1 on the odds checker grid. That might be the cutoff for me. I'm not here for no super bombs. And truth be told, you could check the comments below to see if I'm actually even going to bet Ben Taylor. But I love the storyline this week. Went through that all by myself, just like old times. Smash that like button. I'm Geoff Fienberg. Thanks for watching The Drive here at oddschecker.com/US. Leave a comment. Tell me who you think is going to take home the Valspar.